Hello students, greetings of the day. I, Mrs. Usha Vasani, welcome you all to RKC Online Social Studies class. As you all know, previous two videos of this week was about chapter number 19, the Indian government. So this is part 3 of the same chapter. So let's start with the learning. Students, today's learning objectives would be to understand the working of state government, to understand its functions, to understand the meaning of constituency, to understand the functions of Vidhan Sabha and Vidhan Parishad, to understand the role of governor, that is the nominal head of the state, the real head, like we studied about prime minister. In the same way, real head of the state is chief minister, and the council of ministers who are appointed under chief minister. So students, today we are going to basically learn about the state government, how we learned about the central government or the union government. So let's get going. The system of government in the state is as similar to the central government. Each state government is responsible for making laws for the state and putting these laws into force. All states have a lower house, that is called the Legislative Assembly or Vidhan Sabha. Some states of India have an upper house called Legislative Council or Vidhan Parishad. As we have discussed earlier, government work at three levels, that is local, state and national. We examine the work of government at the state level. Now first of all, let us know who is an MLA. Members of the Legislative Assembly. As I told you, Legislative Assembly means, Legislative Assembly means Vidhan Sabha. So members of Legislative Assembly, they are known as MLAs in short, are elected by the people. They then become members of Legislative Assembly and also form a government. Every state in India has a Legislative Assembly. Each state is divided into different areas and constituencies. For example, Himachal Pradesh is divided into 68 assembly, that is constituencies. From each constituency, the people elect one representative, that is the head, and from each constituency, the people elect one representative, as I said you, that who becomes a member of Legislative Assembly. What is a constituency? I told in the previous slide that there are different areas or different constituencies. So first, let us understand what is the meaning of a constituency. Every state is divided into small areas called constituencies, which is a specified area covering one or more districts. Each such constituencies have an elected representative who is a member of the Legislative Assembly. Okay, so the state Legislative Assembly consists of not more than 500 members, and not less than 60 members. So, in short, constituency means the small area in which the whole state is divided. So, children, constituency means basically the small part which covers one or more districts. So, this is the meaning of constituency. Children, now you can see on the screen, I have made a flow chart which will give you a very clear picture of the bifurcation of a state government. Like as we discussed in central government, there are three organs of central government: legislative, executive, and judiciary. In the same way, even at the state level, there are again three organs: legislative, executive, and judiciary. So, under the heading of legislative comes is the upper house and the lower house, how we discussed earlier about Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. In the same way, under the heading of legislative comes Vidhan Sabha and Vidhan Parishad. Now, executive is where the members of legislative assembly see or look after that whether these laws which are made by the houses are executed properly or not. So that is looked after by chief minister, who is the head, and under him are the members or are the ministers, which is known as the council. So council of ministers look after whether these laws are practiced properly or not. Then comes the third organ, that is judiciary. Every state has high court, like how we have the Supreme Court in our India's capital, that is in Delhi. In the same way, every state and every state's capital has a high court. In the high court, there are subordinate or lower courts, and this is how it works, that in each district there are lower courts, and then above that is the high court in every state, and above all the high courts is the Supreme Court, right? So this is all about the judiciary organ. Now if we talk about the state legislature, that is, let me explain you a little bit properly and in detail that how legislature works and how the executive organ works. Now if we first talk about legislative, that is the state legislature, every state in India has a state government, as I told you. The state legislature is the highest law making body in the state. Some states have a bicameral legislature. Others have a unicameral legislature. A bicameral legislature has an upper house and a lower house, as is there in the central government. Now, other states have only one house, that is, bicameralism is practiced. It is the practice of having two houses. Means, I'll tell you in short what is the meaning of unicameral and bicameral. Unicameral means it has only one house, that is legislative assembly, and bicameral means it has two houses, that is upper house and lower house, that is legislative assembly as well as legislative council. Now these two houses of parliament are Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. In the same way, at the state level, the two houses are known as assemblies. At the state level, the equivalent to Lok Sabha is Vidhan Sabha. that is Legislative Assembly. And that of the Rajya Sabha is the Vidhan Parishad, that is the Legislative Council, which we call it as upper house or Rajya Sabha at central level, but at state level we call it as Vidhan Parishad, that is Legislative Council. The members of the Legislative Assembly are called MLA in short, and they are directly elected by the people. Okay, they are elected by the citizens of India from the state. And who can vote? I told you earlier also that an adult citizen, that is a person who is above 18 years of age, can vote. After the elections, the leader of the majority party is invited by the governor of the state to form the government for a period of 5 years. And the governor of the state is appointed by the President of India. Alright, so this is the working of state legislature. Now if we talk about the executive organ. The executive is the branch of the government which carries out laws passed by the legislature. In other words, it is the law implementation body. I said you that the laws are made by Vidhan Parishad or Vidhan Sabha, but now after making the laws, it is very necessary that whether they are executed or not. So this organ makes sure that the law implementation is done or not. So this body this organ is the law implementation body. At the central level, the executive consists of President, Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. We studied in the previous video, right? In the same way, in India, since there are many political parties, we have a multi-party system. During Lok Sabha elections, several candidates from different parties contest elections. The party that gets the highest number of seats in the Lok Sabha forms the government at the center. The President appoints the leader of the majority party in the Lok Sabha as the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is the head of government, and he or she chooses the Council of Ministers who help him or her in various tasks like framing policies, taking decisions on important matters, etc. Now in the same way, at the state level, the executive consists of the governor as like president, then chief minister as like prime minister, and the council of ministers means the team of ministers working under the chief minister. The governor is the head of the state and is appointed by the president. His term is of 5 years. In the state legislative assembly elections, the party that gets maximum seats in the legislative assembly forms the government. Okay. Now, as the Prime Minister chooses a team of ministers who assist him in the running of government, and they are assigned various ministries. They have ministers of state under them. And in the state level also, the chief minister chooses a group of ministers to head the various departments and help him run the government at the state level. So I hope children, now as you have studied for central government, same way is the working of state government, but the names are different. So this is all about the 3 organs of state government. the political system at state level. Now let us see what is Vidhan Sabha, that is Legislative Assembly, which is known as lower house, and let us see also Vidhan Parishad, that is Legislative Council, which is upper house. Now first, if we see the lower house, that is Legislative Assembly, minimum 60 members to 500 members, which are called MLAs. So the members are minimum 60 to 500 members in the lower house, that is in Vidhan Sabha. The members are directly elected by the residents of the state in the state elections. Okay. Now, whichever political party has majority votes forms the state government and chooses the chief minister. Okay. Elections are held every 5 years. The head is called a speaker and is usually of the stronger political party. Means when the meetings are held of the ministers, at that time the person who holds the meeting is known as the speaker. Okay, and that speaker is from the winning political party, means the stronger political party, right? So when the state which has only one house, that is Vidhan Sabha, is known as unicameral. Okay, now if we see Vidhan Parishad, which is known as Legislative Council and also the upper house, but as I told you earlier, every states do not have two houses. Only in 6 bicameral states, that is Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Jammu and Kashmir, Karnataka and Uttar Pradesh, have two houses at the state level, of course. Now, less than 1/3 of Vidhan Sabha are the members. In Legislative Council, there are very less number of members, that is 1/3 of the Legislative Assembly. 1/3 members are elected by the members of local bodies, 1/3 by MLAs, 1/12 from teaching field and 1/12 from the graduates. So these are the criteria of the members of upper house of at the state level, Vidhan Parishad. The members of Vidhan Parishad are called MLC, that is members of Legislative Council. Okay, members sit for 6 years with 1/3 retiring every 2 years. And here the person who holds the meeting is called the chairman and is elected from the members. Among the members, one is the chairman among all the members. So this is all about the political system of at the state level. Now children, this is the team which works under the executive. So the head of the state is governor. He is the nominal head of the state. Then comes chief minister, who is the real head of the state. Under him comes the council of ministers. There are different level or different departments where different ministers are appointed. And this is how the state government works. Let us see the role of governor, that is, what is his role and what are his functions. So first of all, the eligibility of the government. He or she has to be a citizen of India. He or she should not be a member of either House of Parliament or state legislature. And the third one is he or she cannot hold any office of profit. Means he cannot have any other business where he is running a business and also the governor of the state. No, he can't do that. So this is the eligibility criteria to become a governor. The governor is the constitutional head of the state. He is appointed by the president of the country. He appoints the chief minister and other members of the council of ministers. He appoints the advocate general and other officers of the state. Every bill has to be approved by the governor. Like how we discussed at the central level that every bill has to be approved by the president, same is the role of governor at the state level, right? He has the right to dissolve the legislature, means he has the right to dissolve the existing house, that is the lower house of the state. Okay, so this is the role of. Now let us see the power and the functions of chief minister. The chief minister is the leader of legislative assembly of the state. He selects the ministers in the council of ministers as the head of the council, and he allocates the portfolios or the departments to them. The chief minister is the main link between the governor and the state cabinet, means the council of ministers and the governor are not in direct touch, but the chief minister is the link between both of them. It is his duty to communicate to the government all the decisions of the council of ministers. As the chief spokesman of the state government, all important announcements on behalf of government is made by him. The policies and working of different ministries are monitored and coordinated by him. He summons the and also presides over the meetings of the Council of Ministers. The governor appoints or dismisses other ministers on his advice. The chief minister allocates or reallocates the portfolios among the ministers. Now, the governor appoints or dismisses, means whatever chief minister has decided that this portfolio or this department is to be given to so and so minister, but governor has all the right to appoint also and to dismiss other ministers also, but of course on the advice of chief minister. Sole channel of communication between his ministers and legislatures, that is bills, resolutions, etc. moved in the legislature must have his approval, means of chief minister's approval. He remains responsible to the legislative assembly for the acts performed by the state council of ministers. If the chief minister resigns, the entire council of ministers is bound to resign. Okay, so this is all about the role and the functions of chief minister. Members of legislative assembly are also called MLAs. Every 5 years, election is announced for state legislative assembly. Political parties nominate their people for each constituency. All members of the legislative assembly are elected on the basis of adult franchise, and one member is elected from one constituency. A member of legislative assembly is the representative elected by the voters of an electoral district, that is constituency, to the legislature of the state in the Indian system of government. This is a little extra knowledge, but just that you should know what is a member of legislative assembly or who can be the member. So in short, to be a member of legislative assembly, a person must be a citizen of India, also must be at least 25 years of age, and must have such other qualifications as may be prescribed by the president. In short, who can be a member of Legislative Assembly. So students, today in this video, I explained you basically about the working of state government. The working of state government is same as we learnt about the central government. That is, it has mainly three organs: the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. So at the union level, that is central government has the same, and in the state government also it has state legislature, state executive, and the judiciary, that is all about the high court. Now today we also learnt about what is constituency, what is the role of governor, chief minister, and the council of ministers at the state level. So how we learnt about the legislative organ at the central level, the same way the state legislatures either have one house, that is unicameral, or two houses, that is bicameral. Like the union legislature, the members are elected and serve a term of 5 years in the lower house. The executive consists of Prime Minister and his council of ministers help him running the government, that is at central level. In the similar procedure, it is the procedure followed at the same at the state level in the same way, and that is where the chief minister and the council of ministers run the affairs of the state. So this is all about today's learning. Thank you and stay safe. See you soon in another learning video. Till then, keep learning.